For me, self-defense is more about being aware of your surroundings and knowing that things can happen and being prepared. Always thinking about that and always knowing that I want to go home. Lisa Pederson, I'm a patrol sergeant with the UW Stout Police Department.
Hi, I'm Garrett. Well, my passion for boxing and fighting in general came from bullies in middle school and getting bullied, being pushed around a little bit. Besides, the average basement scrap that I get into, I haven't really had to protect my life like some people have. Self-defense is at the heart of my reasoning for loving MMA because it's so applicable.
Okay, my name is Laurel Bieritz. Yeah, so I was on the Facebook page for new Stout incoming freshmen. So I got a lot of Snapchats off of there, contact information, stuff like that. I had this random guy on Snapchat. We never really talked at all. And then I get a video from him like a week into college of him just full on having sex with a random girl. None of their faces were in it, but you could obviously tell what was happening in the video. And then the next day, we were in the Commons and I happened to see him and I was kind of freaking out because it was a really uncomfortable situation. I turned to my friend next to me and I say, "Oh my God, that's the guy."
That's the guy who sent us unsolicited porn. So clearly we're gonna maybe take a look, but we're not gonna make a big fuss out of it. My name is Hans Holmson.
When you need to use self-defense, those situations are usually very chaotic. And that's why I say you always have to be kind of in the mindset of you're gonna win.
He sees me notice him and he comes up to me and starts towering above me and yelling expletives and just screaming at me basically in front of the whole Commons. And that's when my now boyfriend, but at the time just a random guy that I met on campus, that's when he stood up and said,
"Okay, you got a cool dick, bro." And he looked at me and he's like, "The fuck you just say to me?" So I said, "You got a cool dick, bro." And he's holding a glass of milk. So he did not enjoy that I had the balls to say it a second time, so he threw the glass of milk in my face. Whatever, I'm not hurt. He's all upset now. He says some stuff and storms off. And all of a sudden he comes back and he's raising his voice again at me this time, obviously saying, "You think you're so funny, why don't you say it again? Say it to my face, stand up, do something, if you wanna do something, let's just take it outside." He's clearly trying to escalate it to a physical level. So in my mind, I'm like, you know what? It's not worth it. Let's just wipe our hands of it, call it a day. So I say, "I'm good. I'm not gonna fight you."
Upperclassmen had to tell him, "No, you have to get out of here. We don't do that here," which was really nice to have someone stand up for you. I wasn't really expecting that. From a college campus, it feels like everyone's pretty separate, but there's people looking out for you, which is always really nice.
When you get attacked, or in a fight, it's not an A to B to C, sort of scenario. There are so many different things that can happen in between those seconds that can cause you to lose focus or to not be able to implement that plan that you have in your mind.
What do we do? Do we report him? Whatever? And we're like, nah, it's just a dumb thing that he decided to send.
Whenever he saw me and my friends at the Commons or anywhere really, he would just kind of follow us and he pushed chairs aside to try to get at my friend and almost threw a punch at a guy because they were looking at him wrong. And we ended up going to the police, first our RAs, then the housing manager, then the police. And so me and my now boyfriend who said, "Cool dick, bro," it was our first date and we had to go talk to the police at 1 a.m. I thought they were really great. We were really well taken care of. Again, we were offered police on our floor. We were given numbers to call anytime if we needed it, and they took it very seriously because I was wondering I was like, "Oh, it's just milk." What's the worst that could happen? He probably just had a rough day. And then as it kept happening, they took it really seriously, but from the beginnings.
one of the hardest things for people to wrap their head around is some of the things you might need to do to defend yourself. You know, I talk about a lot of different things when I talk about self-defense and personal safety to people, and I get horrified looks sometimes because I might mention eye gouging or things like that that most people say, oh, you've got to be nice. And well, no, this is self-defense. You don't get to be nice. You get to win.
A lot of the times when you fight, and I know this from sparring, and a lot of the new guys come in and they go back to their most natural state when adrenaline kicks in. So when a new guy comes in and like he'll hit the bag and he'll hit the pads, he can do it perfectly, but as soon as that adrenaline kicks in, they go back to where they were day one, and they can't do the most simplest of tasks. And when your life's on the line, that's going to be multiplied.
It's Eleni Hein. I met the same guy that Laurel did, and I kind of made the rash decision to text him before I blocked him saying, if you ever come near me or my friends again, I will pepper spray you, because I have pepper spray with me at all times. I went to class another time with some other friends that I met in that class, and it was 3 boys who were just a grade above me. They were like, oh, let's just all go to the Commons and get lunch. And I was like, sounds great. And we all went to the Commons, and as I was getting my food and we were going through like the checkout line, I saw the guy. I was like, I'm not gonna acknowledge him. I'm just gonna like get my drink and walk away. And I got my stuff, got my drink, and apparently he saw me, and as he was on the phone, he put it down and came up to me and came about like a foot away from me. I was trying to walk away, and I was like sidestepping him, and he'd sidestep me and like kind of block me from going.
What I tell people is no matter what you're going to carry, make sure you know how to use it, and make sure you know what it might do to you. I ask this all the time in classes that I talk about personal safety. You know, does anybody carry pepper spray? And I get a bunch of people who raise their hand. And have you ever used it? No.
So the misconceptions behind it is that this is something that should be practiced. You can't just learn something once and then think that it's going to stick with you in 10 years.
So I tell people, if you're going to buy pepper spray, you buy 2. You take one home and you use it, and you figure out how it works. You understand that if you spray, is it a spray, is it a foam? What do you have? How far will it go? You know, are you just going to spray it and it's not going to do anything? Are you going to spray it into the wind and it's going to blow back at you? What does it do to you if you get the effects from it? So I think it's great that people have things to protect themselves. I just want to make sure that they know how to use it when that time would come.
And since we were all staring at him, he immediately charged us. He was across the Commons, and we were like in a back corner. He charged us and flipped over tables and chairs. Whatever was in his path, he just sort of like shoved away and like flipped over. And he just immediately started swearing at us and yelling at us and saying stuff that didn't even make sense. Like, I don't get why you guys keep doing this to me, and like all that. And I was like, this is like the first time they've met you. He like started to like reach over and climb onto the table like to come at me, and one of the guys like got up and sort of shoved him away and was like, dude, just leave her alone. And eventually some of the staff came over and was like, you need to leave. Okay, I'm just gonna go back to my dorm. Someone I knew was like, he's waiting for you outside. And I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, he's talking a lot of crap. He's like saying that he's waiting for you and that he's going to like finish this once and for all. So I was pretty shaken about that, and I didn't feel like safe going back to my dorm because like he was on our floor at the time and everything, and I was like kind of freaked out.
At that point, I said, you know what? I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. I tried to give him a chance to just be an adult and handle this maturely and not do anything further, and he fucked it up, so now I'll do something about it. And then the hall manager said, you know what, this is a police thing, because that's assault. They were like, this needs to be a police thing because that person is threatening.
Yeah, he got kicked off pretty fast. There was a lot of people who were like, oh, that guy? Yeah, he's trouble. So They knew about him. Yeah, in no more than a couple months, he had gotten himself fully suspended. I'm just imagining if we didn't speak out, how many other people would this have happened to? How many people would he have tried to fight? How many more people would he have traumatized in that time? So it really is important to speak out, as scary as it is.
I haven't had a sexual assault reported on campus that alcohol wasn't involved. So I really stress that with people, and we're not looking at charging anybody with an underage or charging anybody for being, out and drinking, that type of thing. We don't even look at that part of it, but we have to put it in reports. There's actually legislature that states that they will not be cited. Not everybody wants to report either. And we give the victim the power. But they can come in and tell us the whole story, and if they decide they don't want anything done right away, we don't do anything. Sometimes a couple years down the road, the anger sets in and they decide they do, and then that has happened too.
Don't be scared to tell someone, even if it is like just your friend and you don't think like anything's gonna come of it. They immediately took the reins and they were like, we need to get this figured out. And I'm so glad that they said that, because I'm like, I would not have known what to do. I probably would have just been freaked out, because even after that, I know I was walking around the halls, like whenever I'd leave my dorm to go to the bathroom, I was walking around with mace in my hand. So if we didn't go to the cops, I don't know how else that would have ended, or how long I would have done that.
When it comes to fighting outside of a gym or outside of a controlled space where there is consent, the law exists. You will get arrested. You will get punished if you are, assaulting somebody.